Sup, nerds? I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
Today, we're gonna be bad guys. Disco Heist Laundry.
Let's be bad guys.
Before we get started, 2 disclaimers. The first one, of course, is that this is a prototype that we're playing with here. So because the game is currently seeking funding on crowdfunding, some things can change. Obviously, this is not a normal box.
You won't have 3D printed components.
Right. So everything you see is not fully representative. The 10,000 foot view is going to be the same, but little minor tweaks here and there is common.
Second off, our channel is brought to you by GameToppers. That is the tabletop we were playing on here. They've got all kinds of cool playmats, accessories, just everything to make your game night better. If you want to have a good game, if you want to have a good board game, get a GameTopper.
They don't have beer. So, not everything you need. So in Disco Heist Laundry, you all play as mob bosses, gang lords, shaking down the city, moving around, trying to gather resources and perform heists and ultimately hide your stash away from the cops and from the other mob bosses out there.
Yeah, so everyone starts off with a slightly asymmetric ability in hand, and on your turn, you're going to be playing a card to activate its ability, but those cards don't discard at the end of the turn, so eventually you'll have a tableau of cards that are out there, and then once you have played your card and moved your movement, you can activate that card's secondary ability that you can only activate once per time it's in the tableau, because one of those secondary abilities is going to be to pick all those cards back up into your hand again.
Think Concordia, Flotilla, Century Spice Road, Margraves of Valyria. The idea that you have a hand and you're playing cards from your hand until you play the one card that bounces all the rest of the cards back into your hand.
And there's multiple reasons why you'd want to have certain cards out there in front of you. One, Tom talked about stashing your money, because most of the money you get during your heists and as you're out on the board is actually in these poker chips, which isn't actual money, and it can be stolen from you by the cops, or certain cards that people can play can actually take those away from you. But you have certain cards that can actually transfer those into actual money in your bank account, and those are your victory points, and those are kind of locked in.
I don't know if a mob boss has a bank account.
Oh, it's definitely...
they have a mattress.
Where's the rest of the money?
It's everywhere.
But then the main ability that you play that will transfer those money, you can only transfer up to the amount of money on the cards in your tableau, plus the location that you're on where you actually do that transfer. So that's one of the reasons why you want to have a lot of cards in that tableau. But also, when you do those secondary abilities, you can activate multiple different secondary abilities at once, so you can really plan up some really big combo turns.
Yeah, so it is weird because it's like a hand builder, because you're going to hire more guys to your hand, and then you're only playing once per turn. But that tableau does build up into, like you said, things that you can combo, and some cards care about the other cards in your tableau and that type of thing.
And so, some there's missions and secret not really secret, but there's objectives that you're trying to accomplish to also get more money and get more of those poker chips.
Heist. Yeah.
And some of those have you want to have certain people in your tableau when you do those, and if you the negate bad stuff that happens.
Yeah, they all have bad stuff that can happen, but either it's both your kingpin and the other goons that you have can negate those, and you can also spend some resources to avoid them. But you can kind of do that strategically, because maybe some of them aren't that big of a deal. If you're not wanted, right? So cops are moving around the board, but you have this wanted track, which
kind of Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, right? But when you're really low, when you're 0 to 2, you're not even gonna get there's no bad things that's gonna happen with a cop walking. But if you're not that wanted and a cop walks by you on the street, who cares, right? Yeah. But if your face is plastered all over the city when that cop walks by, depends on who you are. It might be like that one scene in The Town. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, so some of those negative abilities on the heist, you may be like, I don't really care. I'll do the heist now, even though I don't have the requirements to avoid these negative abilities, because these negative abilities are going to just activate the police, and they're going to start moving in my direction. But I'm not really worried about that. Or even if I am kind of wanted, the police is really far away, they won't get to me or whatever. So you can be real strategic, because the heists do require kind of a lot of stuff to pull off, as a heist should, right? Yep. It has a specific location that you need to be at. It has resources and or goons that you need to spend to complete it. And then, like Wes said, it has a bunch of negative effects that you need to have. certain symbols on your guys to...
Or the heist is going to go forward.
Or the heist is going to... Well, I mean, you're still going to run away with the money, but there's going to be a lot of negative effects.
And then also at certain points of the game, there's an area control aspect that's triggered. So you have a certain number of heists that will be available during the game, and then after those heists have been revealed, you're going to trigger it's the end of the act, and you'll trigger that area control aspect, because during the game you are moving your kingpin around, and you're also deploying goons and moving them around the board as well, which you can trigger to like shake down businesses or also accomplish heists and other things you'll do. But when that area control activates, you will gain money just based on like how many you have compared to your other players and where they are on the board.
And if you guys, because you guys can occupy the same spaces, like your goons, you could have multiple goons in the same spot, and they will kind of duke it out and have a turf war if they're in that same spot, and whoever's remaining will then score that spot. But that's also interesting because we said shakedown earlier. That's another big action that you're going to do on your turn. Like, again, you're going to play one card. So a lot of the cards are going to be to gain resources, gain goons, add goons to the board. You can already move just normally, but then turning chips into money. But heist, shakedown, and launder are like the big main actions that you're like gearing up for, right? And shakedown is where every location that you're at has a little ability. Like some of them are better than others, but just like gain resources, gain goons. If they're really good, you may also gain heat, move up on this wanted track a little bit. But when you shake down, you do where all of your guys are. And actually, if you have multiple guys in one spot, you can trigger that ability multiple times, which is good, but you're kind of also incentivized to spread out because of the area control thing. But you're de-incentivized to spread out because of the cops, right?
Yeah.
So it's this really cool balance of multiple reasons why you would want to be on one space and multiple reasons why you would want to spread out. And so there's a lot of strategery in there with, what were we talking about?
So I also really like how on a lot of the cards you play, there's an option for a weaker ability that like a weaker, gain an extra goon or gain more tools. Or there's a stronger version of it where you can get more of that resource, but you also take on heat. So depending on where you are in the game, where you might say, I really need tools right now, so I'm going to be a little bit, more aggressive with how I go get those tools, I guess, or I'm going to cause more stir so it put some more heat on me. But maybe it's worth it for you because you really need those tools for a heist you're going on, or maybe
there's a goon that you really need to get.
Yeah, or you're about to cross another threshold on the heat track, so you're like, I'm going to play it safe and just do the weaker version of it this time.
And also, as you're banking money into, well, not your bank, but your pillowcase or whatever, as you advance up on this track, that's where all the police stuff is. So there can be at most 3 different police guys out there, and at the end of every round, they're going to they're all going to spawn at the police station, but you're going to roll randomly to where their siren thing is, and police number 1, 2, and 3 will respectively move towards their 1, 2, and 3 siren tokens, wherever they happen to land out on the board. But as you gain more, you can also add snitch booths, barricades, and the police can upgrade and to get into cop cars or SWAT vehicles. That
or you can even get a helicopter.
Yeah, and a helicopter doesn't upgrade anybody. It's an addition to. So, I mean, that's real bad, but it is cool how that's like a little bit of like almost a catch-up mechanism. Well, there are catch-up mechanisms because there's things that like turn order is based on whoever has the lowest banked money goes first, and there's some things that will be like in turn or that will be in like you get to draft cards from the goons row, and that will be going from lowest money banked to most money banked. So there are catch-up mechanisms, but there's also just like risk assessment with the more you start doing well in the game, the harder the game is going to be for everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, you want points. So it's just game is
it's
going
a risk
to...
you're willing to take.
Yeah, it's a game that's going to get progressively harder as you move up the track, and as everyone moves up the track as well. So overall, I mean, the game plays pretty straightforward because you play a card from your hand and you do what that card says, but there's definitely a lot of strategic depth as far as like where you're moving, where you're positioning, not just your main kingpin, but also deploying goons and moving them around the board, and then upgrading that hand to get better actions and figuring out when you want to trigger your tableau to go ahead and cash in your chips. Do you want to push to get a couple more chips in your hand before you bank stuff, or do you don't want to risk it, play it safe, and go ahead and bank it now? So I definitely don't think this is necessarily like a gateway intro level game. But probably like one above that. Like once you've got a couple games under your belt, this one will be no problem for your game group to handle. So if that all sounds good to you, there will be a link to the crowdfunding campaign in the description box down below that you can click on and get some more information.
And while you're down there, don't forget to check out our link for GameToppers, or the sponsor of Neverboard Gaming. But also down there is going to be a button that says
Subscribe.
Hell yeah.
And when you click on that,
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We've already faded out.
Now, I think laundry is like a play on words, because when you launder money, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's the laundry they mean. Because otherwise, this name doesn't make any sense.
Is that a play on words, or is it just the mean? It's not really a play on words.
Well, you launder money, but you wouldn't call that laundry.
Oh,
right?
doing your laundry?
Would you call doing your laundry laundering money?
Oh, we better call Saul.
You better call whatever Jason Bateman's character's name was from Ozark.